Have you ever felt that every confusing interaction, every sudden shift in mood, was not a random event, but a hidden question being asked of your character? The answers you have been giving have shaped your reality, but a different set of answers, forged in wisdom and inner fire, can reshape it entirely. Never fall for her tests again. Why Women, Stoicism, compiled and published by Stoic Dominion. Lesson 1. See through every hidden test. Imagine for a moment that your mind is not merely a thinking machine, but a vast and fertile inner landscape, a serene, walled garden gifted to you at birth. Within its walls, the soil is rich with potential, capable of cultivating magnificent ideas, profound insights, and vibrant creativity. Much like a garden can yield the most exquisite flowers and nourishing fruits. This inner sanctuary is designed to be a place of immense power and deep tranquility, a private Eden where your true self can flourish. However, for the vast majority of us in the modern world, the gates to this sacred garden have been left unlocked, unguarded, and thrown wide open to the relentless, chaotic traffic of the outside world. We experience the consequence of this vulnerability as a constant, low-level hum of anxiety, a persistent and unsettling feeling of being perpetually distracted. It is the sensation of being pulled in 1,000 different directions at once by an unending torrent of notifications, fleeting opinions, sensationalized breaking news, and the meaningless, cacophonous stream of digital chatter. This gives rise to the fundamental inner conflict of the modern soul, a deep, almost primal yearning for focus, silence, and peace, while simultaneously being ensnared by a behavioral addiction to the very noise that systematically shatters it. The problem is not merely a lack of discipline. It is a profound act of self-abandonment. We have forgotten, or perhaps were never taught, our most vital role, the role of the sovereign gatekeeper of our own consciousness. By abdicating this noble duty, we allow the unfiltered noise of the world, the trivial, the outrageous, the irrelevant, to trample indiscriminately across our inner landscape. The consequences are devastating. The fertile soil becomes compacted and barren. We find ourselves unable to cultivate a single, coherent thought for any length of time. Our attention span withers, our capacity for deep work evaporates, and we begin to feel like strangers to ourselves, lost in the noise of other people's priorities. The quiet voice of our own intuition is drowned out, and we are left feeling mentally exhausted, spiritually fragmented, and fundamentally disconnected from our own inner world. The transformative solution, a cornerstone of Stoic wisdom, is to consciously and deliberately reclaim your rightful authority as the sovereign of your mind. This is not about building a prison to lock yourself away from the world, but about cultivating a majestic palace, a space so well guarded and beautifully maintained that only thoughts, ideas, and influences that actively serve your growth, your virtue, and your tranquility are granted entry. This ancient practice is predicated on the simple but powerful idea of deliberate consumption. It is the unshakable understanding that just as the physical body is directly affected by the quality of the food it consumes, the mind and soul are profoundly shaped by the quality of the information they digest. The core idea is that your attention is the sunlight of your inner garden. Without it, nothing of value can grow. If you allow it to be scattered and diffused, only the weeds of distraction and anxiety will thrive in the shadows. But if you learn to focus your attention like a concentrated beam of light, you can cultivate anything you wish. The immediate benefit of this practice is a profound and palpable shift from a state of anxious, reactive distraction to one of serene, proactive clarity. You will begin to feel your mental ground become firm and stable again. The tangled weeds of useless information will be cleared. Your thoughts will begin to untangle, and a beautiful, quiet space will open up within you, a space where true self-discovery and meaningful creation can finally begin. The first actionable step to developing this vision is to practice the art of objective observation. For the next week, whenever you are in an interaction that feels confusing or emotionally charged, your sole task is to become a silent, internal journalist. Refuse to get caught up in the emotion of the moment. Instead, ask yourself, what was the literal action or statement? What was the immediate emotional reaction it triggered in me? What question about my character might this situation be asking? For example, if a date suddenly mentions a wealthy ex-boyfriend, instead of feeling insecure, your emotional reaction, you observe objectively. She is introducing the topic of financial success. The hidden question might be, are you intimidated by other men's success? Or are you secure in your own path and value? The second step is to study patterns, not people. Stop trying to figure out one specific person and start recognizing universal human dynamics. Notice how often challenges to your time, your opinions, or your plans arise. See these not as personal attacks, but as recurring phenomena, as predictable as the changing of the tides. This systemic view depersonalizes the events and allows for a more rational analysis. The third step is to practice delayed interpretation. Train yourself to never offer an immediate interpretation of an ambiguous social signal. Instead of instantly deciding she's losing interest or she's testing me, simply file the data away with the label information to be calmly assessed later. This prevents you from making reactive decisions based on incomplete or emotionally clouded data. By diligently applying these perceptual shifts, you will experience a profound transformation in your social confidence. The world of human interaction will begin to slow down for you. Situations that once seemed chaotic and stressful will now appear clear and manageable. You will feel a sense of profound calm because you are no longer a victim of confusing circumstances, but a clear-eyed observer of human nature. You will find yourself smiling inwardly at situations that once would have thrown you into a state of anxiety, because you can finally see the game for what it is. Your call to action is to begin your training as an objective observer today. Pick one interaction you have had recently that left you feeling confused. Take out a piece of paper and apply the objective observation technique to it. What were the facts? What were your feelings? And what was the hidden question really being asked of your character? This is not just an exercise. It is the first step in sharpening your vision so that you may walk through any forest, in any light, with absolute certainty. Now that we have learned to see these tests with newfound clarity, the next and most crucial step is to manage our own inner world when they appear. For what good is clear vision if our own emotional reactions still betray us? In our next lesson, we will delve into the Stoic art of keeping your emotions entirely out of play. To continue this essential journey, subscribe to Stoic Dominion, like this video to signal your commitment to growth, and comment below with an example of a test you now see more clearly. Lesson 2. Keep emotions out of play. Imagine you are a bomb disposal expert faced with a complex and sensitive device. Your hands must be steady, your mind must be clear, and your heart rate must be controlled. A single emotional tremor, a flash of fear, a surge of panic, a jolt of anxiety could cause your hand to slip, leading to catastrophic failure. This high-stakes scenario is the perfect metaphor for navigating the subtle but powerful tests of interpersonal dynamics. The inner conflict that derails most men is the inability to disconnect their emotional response from the external trigger. A challenging question, a subtle look of disapproval, or a sudden change in plans is perceived not as a neutral piece of data, but as a direct emotional threat. This triggers an immediate, unfiltered, and powerful emotional response: insecurity, anger, defensiveness, or neediness. The man in that moment is no longer the calm expert. He has become the volatile device itself. The problem is a fundamental lack of emotional discipline, a failure to establish and maintain what the Stoics would call the inner citadel. We allow external events, particularly the words and actions of a woman we are attracted to have a direct, unimpeded line to our emotional core. Her mood becomes our mood. Her approval becomes our source of validation. Her tests, therefore, become terrifying referendums on our self-worth. This is an outsourced, fragile, and ultimately powerless way to live. The pain of this condition is immense. It leads to a life of walking on eggshells, of second-guessing yourself, and of feeling that your own inner peace is a hostage held by someone else. You are not in control of your own emotional state, and this lack of self-possession is the very quality that these tests are designed to detect. The transformative solution is to learn how to create and maintain a sacred space between an external event and your emotional response. It is the conscious decision to become the calm, unshakable bomb disposal expert. This does not mean becoming a cold, unfeeling robot. Emotions are a vital part of the human experience. It means you no longer allow your emotions to be the pilot of your actions in high-stakes situations. You acknowledge the emotion, the flash of anger, the pang of jealousy, as you would acknowledge a flashing light on your control panel. But you, the calm and rational pilot, remain firmly in control of the aircraft. The core idea, central to all Stoic practice, is the understanding that nothing external has the power to harm your inner self unless you grant it permission to do so. A test is just a test. It is your emotional reaction to it that gives it power and determines its outcome. The immense benefit of mastering this emotional detachment is the birth of an incredible inner freedom and a powerful, attractive composure. You become a source of strength and stability, a man whose emotional center is not for sale and cannot be easily manipulated. The first and most critical actionable step is to practice the emotional labeling technique. The very moment you feel a powerful negative emotion rising in response to an interaction, mentally take a step back and label it. Say to yourself, that is the feeling of defensiveness, or this is the sensation of jealousy arising. By simply naming the emotion, you externalize it. You are no longer in the emotion, you are the calm consciousness observing the emotion. This creates the initial crucial space between feeling and action. The second step is physiological control. Our emotions have a powerful effect on our body. When you feel a negative emotional surge, immediately take conscious control of your physiology. Deliberately slow your breathing, relax your shoulders, unclench your jaw. By calming your body, you send a powerful signal back to your brain that there is no real emergency, which in turn helps to dissipate the emotional charge. The third step is the internal anchor visualization. Before you enter a potentially challenging social situation, take a moment to anchor yourself. Visualize a heavy lead weight in the pit of your stomach. This is your center of gravity, your unshakable core. Throughout the interaction, no matter what happens, keep a part of your awareness on that feeling of weight and stillness in your core. The surface may be turbulent, but your anchor holds you fast. By practicing these techniques, the transformation you experience will be profound. You will stop being a slave to your own emotional reactions. Interactions that used to cause you immense stress will become, if not effortless, then at least manageable. You will develop a reputation as a man who is calm under pressure, who is not easily rattled, and who possesses a deep well of inner strength. This composure is not an act. It is the genuine result of disciplined inner work, and it is intensely compelling. You will find that many of the tests simply cease because your calm and centered presence has already answered the underlying question before it was even asked. Your call to action for this lesson is to become a student of your own emotional responses. For the next week, your only task is to practice the emotional labeling technique. Do not try to stop or fight your emotions. Simply notice them when they arise in social situations and silently name them. There is anger, there is neediness, there is fear. This practice of mindful awareness is the foundation upon which all emotional mastery is built. We have now learned to see the test clearly and to keep our own emotions from clouding our judgment. But tests are often not just about emotion, they are about power. How do you notice the subtle shifts in control that occur in every interaction? Our next lesson will train you to instantly recognize power shifts, giving you another layer of profound awareness. To continue on this path, subscribe to Stoic Dominion, like this video, and comment below on which emotion you are most committed to mastering. Lesson 3. Recognize power shifts instantly. Imagine you are the captain of a majestic sailing ship on the open ocean. Your destination is set, your sails are trimmed, and you are in command of your vessel. The ocean, however, is a living entity with its own hidden currents and subtle shifts in the wind. A novice sailor only pays attention to the big waves and the storm clouds, but a master captain has a deeper sensitivity. He can feel a subtle change in the pressure on the rudder, notice a slight shift in the flag at the top of the mast, and instantly recognize that a hidden current is beginning to pull his ship off its intended course. This mastery of sensitivity is precisely what is required to navigate the complex currents of human dynamics. The inner conflict for many men is that they are novice sailors in this regard. They are oblivious to the subtle undercurrents of power and influence in their interactions. They only notice a problem when the big waves of overt disrespect or conflict are already crashing over the deck, by which point it is often too late to correct course without a massive, energy-draining struggle. The problem is a lack of attunement to social and power dynamics. We often operate under the naive assumption that all interactions are purely logical or emotional, while ignoring the constant, subtle negotiation for status, control, and respect that is an inherent part of the human social animal. A power shift is any action, statement, or non-verbal cue that subtly attempts to alter the frame of the interaction, positioning one person as the prize and the other as the pursuer, one as the leader and the other as the follower, one as the judge and the other as the one being judged. These can be as subtle as a delayed text message, a backhanded compliment, or a last-minute change of plans. When you fail to recognize these shifts as they happen, you implicitly accept them. You allow the other person to take the rudder of your ship, and you find yourself being steered into waters you did not choose, wondering how you got there. The transformative solution is to develop the keen perception of a master captain, to cultivate a state of relaxed awareness that instantly registers these subtle shifts in the current. This is the Stoic practice of prosoche, or continuous attention, applied to social dynamics. It is not about becoming paranoid or distrustful. On the contrary, it is about becoming so calm and centered within yourself that you have the excess mental capacity to observe the interaction from a third-person perspective, even as you are participating in it. The core idea is that power in social dynamics is not taken, it is given away. By failing to notice a power shift, you are unconsciously giving away your own. By calmly noticing it, you retain it. You are not required to challenge every shift aggressively. The simple, silent act of noticing it is often enough to neutralize its effect, because it prevents you from subconsciously complying with the new disadvantageous frame. The benefit is a profound sense of control and agency. You are no longer being unknowingly steered by hidden currents. You are the master of your vessel, aware of the ocean's every mood, and able to make calm, conscious adjustments to stay on your chosen course. The first actionable step is to start paying attention to the logistics frame. Logistics: who travels to whom, who initiates contact, who is more flexible with their time, are a primary language of power. For 1 week, just observe this in your interactions. Who is putting in more effort? Who is accommodating who? Make a mental note without judgment. For instance, if you always drive to her side of town and she never offers to come to yours, you have identified a power dynamic. The second step is to become a student of time and attention. Notice how your time and attention are being valued. If your texts are answered instantly, but hers take hours or days, that is a power dynamic. If plans are frequently canceled or changed at the last minute, that is a power dynamic. Again, the initial goal is not to react, but simply to see. The third step is to listen for qualifiers and disqualifiers. A qualifier is when you are subtly prompted to prove yourself. So what makes you so special? A disqualifier is a subtle put-down or a backhanded compliment. That's a nice shirt. My brother has one just like it. Your job is to hear these not as personal insults, but as tactical moves on the chessboard of the interaction. By developing this sensitivity, the transformation will be like turning on a light in a dark room. The confusing and often frustrating behavior of others will suddenly start to make a strange kind of sense. You will feel a sense of empowerment, not because you intend to control others, but because you have finally stopped allowing yourself to be unknowingly controlled. You will navigate your social world with a new level of skill and grace, like a chess master who can see the entire board and thinks 5 moves ahead, while everyone else is only looking at the piece in front of them. Your motivational practice is to choose one of the three areas: logistics, time, or qualifiers, and make it your sole focus of observation for the next few days. Become a detective of this single dynamic. Your goal is not to pass a test or to win a frame. Your goal is to achieve clarity. The power comes not from the counter move, but from the seeing itself. We can now see the test, control our emotions, and recognize the subtle power dynamics at play. This is a powerful combination. But what do we do when a test is not subtle, but is a direct challenge, a storm that threatens to capsize our ship? The next lesson will teach you the most crucial skill of all: how to hold your frame under fire. To arm yourself with this vital knowledge, subscribe to the Stoic Dominion channel, like this video to show your support, and share your thoughts in the comments about the subtle power dynamics you have started to notice. Lesson 4. Hold your frame under fire. Imagine yourself as a mighty, ancient oak tree, standing alone in the center of a vast, open field. Your roots run deep into the earth, drawing strength and stability from a source unseen. Your trunk is thick and solid, a testament to years of enduring the seasons. Your branches reach for the sky, confident and unapologetic. Now imagine a storm rolls in. The winds howl with ferocious intensity, pushing and pulling at your branches, trying with all their might to uproot you. The storm is a direct assault on your position, on your very existence. Holding your frame is the art of being this oak tree. It is the ability to remain deeply rooted in your own reality, your own values, and your own sense of self-worth, even in the face of a direct social, emotional, or intellectual storm. The inner conflict that causes most men to fail this test is that they have not cultivated deep roots. Their sense of self is shallow, dependent on the external environment for stability. So when the winds of criticism, disapproval, or a direct challenge begin to blow, they either bend too far, trying to appease the storm, or they become rigid and brittle, and they snap. The problem is the lack of a strong, internally generated frame. Your frame is the underlying context and set of assumptions through which you view yourself and the world. A strong frame is one where you are the source of your own validation, you trust your own judgment, and you live according to your own values. A weak frame is one where you are constantly looking to others, especially a romantic partner, to validate you, to approve of your decisions, and to tell you that you are worthy. When a woman tests your frame by challenging your opinion, questioning your decision, or mocking your ambition, she is subconsciously probing the depth of your roots. Is this man truly a mighty oak, or is he just a hollow log that will be blown away by the first strong gust of wind? Failing to hold your frame is the most definitive way to fail her test. The transformative solution is to embark on the inner work of building a frame that is so solid, so deeply rooted in your own masculine core, that it becomes unshakable. This is the Stoic ideal of living in accordance with your own nature, of being a man who knows who he is, what he stands for, and where he is going, and who does not require anyone else's permission or approval to do so. This is not about being stubborn, arrogant, or unwilling to listen. The mighty oak is flexible, its branches sway in the wind, but its trunk does not move, and its roots do not yield. You can listen to another person's perspective, you can respect their opinion, but it does not change your fundamental reality. The core idea is that your frame must become your default reality. The benefit of this is the development of an incredibly powerful and attractive presence. A man with a strong frame is a source of stability in a chaotic world. He is a rock in the storm, a comfort and an inspiration to those around him, because his inner world is a safe and predictable place to be. The first actionable step is to clearly define your frame by writing down your personal constitution. This document should have 3 sections. Your values. What principles like honesty, courage, or kindness are non-negotiable for you? Your mission. What is the primary purpose or goal you are working towards in your life right now? And your boundaries. What behaviors will you absolutely not tolerate from others? This constitution becomes the bedrock into which you will sink your roots. The second step is to practice amused indifference. The next time your frame is tested with a minor challenge or a playful jab, instead of becoming defensive or reactive, practice responding with a calm, gentle amusement. A small smile, a slow nod, as if you are observing the antics of a mischievous child. This response communicates that the challenge is so far beneath your notice that it doesn't even register as a threat. It is a powerful way of demonstrating that your frame is utterly unshaken. The third step is agree and amplify. This is a more advanced technique. When someone challenges your frame, you can playfully agree with their premise and then amplify it to an absurd degree. For example, if she says, "You're so stubborn," instead of arguing, you could smile and say, "Stubborn? I'm a force of nature. Mountains consult me for advice on how to be immovable." This uses humor and confidence to absorb the frame test and make it your own. The transformations that result from building and holding your frame are life-changing. You will cease to feel like you are constantly being tested because your very presence will radiate a quiet confidence that answers the tests before they are even verbalized. You will find that people, both men and women, begin to treat you with a new level of respect because you clearly respect yourself. You will feel a deep sense of inner peace, the peace that comes from knowing who you are and from living in alignment with your own deepest truths. You will become the oak tree. Your call to action for this lesson is to begin drafting your personal constitution today. Don't worry about making it perfect. Just start the process. Write down one value, one mission, and one boundary. This is the single most powerful act you can take to begin sinking your roots deep into the earth, preparing yourself to withstand any storm. We can see the test, control our emotions, recognize power shifts, and now hold our frame under fire. The foundation is incredibly strong. But how do we actively respond? How do we communicate this inner strength without aggression? Our next lesson will teach you how to respond with calm, unshakable authority. To master this next level of interaction, subscribe to Stoic Dominion, like this video, and share your thoughts on the concept of holding your frame in the comments below. Lesson 5. Respond with calm authority. Imagine a true king seated upon his throne. He is not defined by the weight of his crown or the opulence of his robes. His power emanates from a different source entirely. It comes from his stillness, his economy of motion, his profound self-assurance. When a petitioner comes before him with a frantic, emotional demand, the king does not raise his voice or become agitated. He listens. He pauses. And when he speaks, his words are few, but they carry the immense weight of his calm, centered authority. This regal composure is the model for how a man of substance responds to the tests and provocations of the world. The inner conflict for most men is that when faced with a challenge, they abandon their throne. They descend into the frantic energy of the petitioner, engaging in loud arguments, lengthy justifications, and defensive explanations. They trade their calm authority for the fleeting and powerless satisfaction of having the last word. The problem is a deep-seated belief that authority must be loud, aggressive, or domineering. We have been conditioned by poor role models and media portrayals to think that power is demonstrated through forcefulness. In reality, the opposite is true. True authority is quiet, calm, and self-contained. It is the authority of the deep ocean, not the crashing, superficial waves. When you respond to a test with excessive emotion, lengthy explanations, or overt attempts to win the argument, you are communicating a fatal weakness. You are showing that the external event has rocked you from your center, that you have been knocked off your throne. You are signaling that your inner peace is fragile and easily disturbed, which is the very thing the test was designed to discover. The transformative solution is to cultivate the ability to respond from a place of unshakable, calm authority. This is the embodiment of the Stoic sage, who, as Seneca described, moves through the world with a composure that external chaos cannot touch. It is the understanding that your calm is your ultimate power. It is a weapon that deflects drama, a shield that protects your inner peace, and a signal that communicates immense strength more effectively than any shouted word ever could. The core idea is that the person who is least reactive in any interaction is the person who is in control. By responding with calm deliberation, you are not being passive. You are actively demonstrating that you are the king in the interaction, the one whose frame is setting the tone. The incredible benefit of this practice is that it not only preserves your own energy and peace of mind, but it has a profound and often immediate calming effect on the other person as well. Your stillness becomes an invitation for them to abandon their own chaotic energy and meet you in a place of mutual respect. The first actionable step is to master the power of the pause. After a test or a provocative statement has been delivered, train yourself to do nothing. Do not speak immediately. Simply hold eye contact, take a slow, silent breath, and allow a moment of silence to hang in the air. This pause does more work than 1,000 words. It communicates that you are not reactive, that you are thinking before you speak, and it subtly compels the other person to wait for your response, thereby reinforcing your authority. The second step is to use minimal declarative statements. When you do speak, use short, clear, declarative sentences that state your reality without justification or apology. For example, if your decision to go to the AM is challenged with, "You always choose the gym over me," a defensive response would be a long explanation about your workout schedule. A response with calm authority would be a simple smiling statement like, "My health is a priority for me." End of sentence. No further explanation is needed. The third step is to use calm eye contact as your primary tool. Steady, relaxed eye contact communicates confidence and presence. When you are delivering your calm response or during your powerful pause, maintain soft but unwavering eye contact. It shows you are not intimidated, not looking away in shame or anger, but are fully present and in control of the interaction. The transformations you will experience by adopting this new mode of response are remarkable. You will find that arguments and dramas that used to last for hours are now extinguished in moments. The dynamic of your relationships will shift, as you will be perceived as a source of calm and decisive strength. Your own self-respect will skyrocket because you will prove to yourself, time and time again, that you are capable of mastering your impulses and responding like the man you wish to be. You will find a new kind of power, the quiet, immense power of the calm and centered king. Your motivational practice is to focus on mastering the power of the pause. For the next 3 days, in every conversation you have, make a conscious effort to pause for just 1 extra second before you respond. This simple exercise will begin to break the habit of immediate reactivity and build the new neural pathway of calm, deliberate response. It is the foundational training for the king. We are now equipped to see, feel, understand, to hold our ground, and to respond with power. But how do we move beyond simply passing these tests and start using them to our advantage? How can we transform these moments of challenge into decisive, silent victories? Our next lesson will teach you the alchemical art of turning tests into silent wins. To learn this advanced technique, ensure you are subscribed to Stoic Dominion, like this video to add it to your library of wisdom, and comment below on your experience with the power of the pause. Lesson 6. Turn tests into silent wins. Imagine you are a master of a sophisticated martial art like Aikido. Unlike a brutish brawler who meets force with greater force, the Aikido master operates on a principle of harmony and redirection. When an opponent lunges forward to attack, the master does not resist. Instead, he blends with the attacker's motion, absorbs the energy of the attack, and uses that very same energy to effortlessly guide the opponent off balance and neutralize the threat. The attack itself becomes the source of the attacker's own defeat. This elegant and powerful principle is the key to moving beyond merely surviving tests to actively thriving on them. The inner conflict for most men, even those who have learned to hold their frame, is that they still view tests as negative events, as attacks to be endured or deflected. They meet the incoming energy with a rigid wall, which requires effort and creates tension. The problem with this defensive mindset is that it is inherently limiting. While successfully defending your frame is a victory, it is a victory that simply maintains the status quo. You have not lost ground, but you have not gained any either. You are perpetually in a state of defense, waiting for the next test, the next challenge to your position. This can be exhausting, and it fails to capitalize on the immense opportunity that each test presents. A test, when viewed correctly, is a gift of energy. It is a moment of heightened emotional intensity and focus from the other person. The unseasoned man sees this as a threat. The master sees it as raw material, as fuel that can be used to increase attraction, build respect, and deepen the connection on his own terms. The transformative solution is to become a social alchemist, a master who can take the base metal of a test and transmute it into the pure gold of a silent win. A silent win is an outcome where you have not only passed the test and held your frame, but you have also used the energy of the test to subtly increase her respect and attraction for you without any overt conflict or argument. It is a win that she feels more than she understands. The core idea is to shift from a mindset of resistance to one of redirection. You stop seeing tests as attacks to be blocked and start seeing them as energy to be harnessed. The Aikido master does not hate his opponent's lunging force. He welcomes it, for he knows how to use it. The immense benefit of this approach is that it turns the entire dynamic of testing on its head. It becomes a playful, engaging, and even enjoyable dance, rather than a stressful, adversarial conflict. You begin to look forward to these moments as opportunities to demonstrate your character and wit in a way that is both powerful and charming. The first and most foundational actionable step is to internalize the playful frame. You must genuinely, deep down, start viewing these tests not as serious threats to your ego, but as a form of flirtatious, challenging play. Adopt the inner mindset of a man who is amused and engaged by the challenge, not threatened by it. This inner frame will automatically change the flavor of your responses from defensive to playful. The second step is the practical application of the Aikido principle through the technique of misinterpretation. This is where you deliberately misinterpret the intent of a test in a playful, confident way. For example, if she says, "I bet you say that to all the girls," a defensive man would say, "No, I don't." A master using misinterpretation would smile and say, "Yes, but only the beautiful ones. I'm very efficient that way." This response playfully accepts the premise, but reframes it in a way that is confident and complimentary, not defensive. The third step is to use challenging questions of your own. When she gives you a test, instead of just answering it, you can absorb it and then playfully turn it back on her, prompting her to qualify herself to you. For instance, if she asks, "So what makes you think I'd be interested in a guy like you?" A powerful, silent win response would be a calm, confident smile and the question, "That's a good question. Tell me, what's the most interesting thing about you?" You have not answered her test. You have absorbed its energy and used it to reestablish the frame that you are the one who is selecting. By mastering these redirection techniques, the transformation in your interactions will be astounding. You will no longer be on the defensive. You will be leading the dance. You will find that your conversations are filled with more humor, more flirtation, and a much stronger underlying current of mutual respect and attraction. You will achieve the silent win, the outcome where she feels more drawn to you, more respectful of you, and she may not even be able to articulate precisely why. It is because you have demonstrated through action rather than words that you are a man of immense inner strength and playful confidence. Your motivational practice for this lesson is to let go of the need to be right. For 1 week, your goal in any challenging conversation is not to win the argument, but to maintain a playful, positive emotional state. Practice using one playful misinterpretation, even if it feels clumsy at first. The goal is to break the habit of defensive righteousness and install the new habit of playful redirection. We have now reached a very advanced stage of mastery, but there is one final test, the ultimate test of a man's character and inner freedom: the willingness to walk away. What happens when a situation is no longer a playful test, but a fundamental incompatibility? Our final lesson will teach you the most powerful move of all: how to walk away while completely owning the outcome. To learn this advanced technique, ensure you are subscribed to Stoic Dominion, like this video, and share your most creative playful misinterpretation in the comments. Lesson 7. Walk away, owning the outcome. Imagine you are a king ruling a vast and prosperous kingdom, which represents your life, your purpose, and your inner peace. One day, you are presented with the opportunity to annex a small, neighboring territory. This territory is enticing and full of intrigue, but you soon discover that its people are chaotic, its demands are incessant, and its values are fundamentally incompatible with the constitution of your own great kingdom. To conquer and hold this territory would require you to betray your own laws, drain your treasury, and divert your attention from the well-being of your own people. The ultimate test of your kingship, therefore, is not whether you have the power to conquer this territory, but whether you have the wisdom to refuse it. The true king understands that some victories are not victories at all, but traps that lead to ruin. The inner conflict that enslaves many men is the inability to make this choice. They become so fixated on winning a particular woman or a specific relationship that they fail to see that the price of that victory is their own kingdom, their self-respect, their mission, and their tranquility. The problem is a scarcity mindset, a deep-seated fear of loss that is rooted in a lack of self-worth. This mindset tells you, this is your only chance. If you lose her, you'll never find anyone else, or walking away means you have failed. This fear makes you cling to situations that are unhealthy, disrespectful, or fundamentally misaligned with your core values. You tolerate bad behavior, you compromise your principles, and you sacrifice your own well-being on the altar of not being alone. You become a king who would burn his own kingdom to the ground just to possess a barren patch of someone else's land. This is the ultimate failure of a man's frame and the final, most definitive test of his character. The transformative solution is the cultivation of a Stoic sense of abundance and supreme detachment. It is the deep, cellular-level understanding that you are the prize. Your life, your purpose, your peace, that is the kingdom. Any person who enters your life must add to that kingdom, not subtract from it. The power to walk away is the ultimate expression of this understanding. It is the final, non-negotiable boundary that protects your sovereignty. The core idea is that walking away from a situation that is wrong for you is not a failure. It is the most profound and courageous victory you can possibly achieve. It is the ultimate act of self-respect. It is you, the king, choosing to protect your kingdom rather than conquer a worthless province. The benefit of embracing this power is the attainment of true freedom. You are no longer a slave to the fear of loss. You navigate the world with the calm confidence of a man who knows his own worth and who knows that he can and will create a magnificent life, whether any single person chooses to be a part of it or not. The first actionable step is to consciously adopt the abundance mentality. You must actively work to believe that the world is full of amazing people and incredible opportunities. You can do this by focusing on your own growth and mission. The more you build yourself into a high-value man with an exciting life, the less desperate you will feel to cling to any one person. Your full and exciting life becomes your proof of abundance. The second step is to define your non-negotiable deal breakers. These are the 1 to 3 core values or behaviors that are absolutely unacceptable to you and a partner. It could be chronic disrespect, dishonesty, or a lack of support for your mission. Write them down. These are the laws of your kingdom. If a law is broken, the consequences are clear and immediate. The third step is to practice the graceful exit. The power of walking away is not in a dramatic, angry departure. It is in a calm, firm, and respectful disengagement. It can be as simple as saying, "I've really enjoyed getting to know you, but I've realized that we're looking for different things in life. I wish you all the best." There is no anger, no drama, no lengthy explanation. It is the quiet, decisive act of a king who is closing a gate to protect his realm. The transformation that occurs when you fully integrate this power is the final stage of your liberation. You will become immune to manipulation and disrespect because the ultimate consequence, your absence, is always on the table. You will find that the quality of people you attract into your life increases dramatically because your high standards will naturally filter out those who are not a good fit. Most importantly, you will cultivate an unshakable and profound respect for yourself. You will know that you are a man who honors his own values above all else, a king who will always protect his kingdom. Your final call to action is to define your non-negotiables. Take out your personal constitution from Lesson 4 and add a new section, the laws of my kingdom. Write down the 1 to 3 behaviors that you will no longer tolerate from anyone who wishes to be a part of your life. This is not an act of aggression, it is an act of profound self-love and the final stone placed in the wall of your inner fortress.